weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Best Comics of the Week show. As always, I'm here with my man, Gray. What up, Gray?
What up, Jim? Happy 4th of July to you, by the way.
Yeah. We're recording on the 5th of July. People don't have a calendar. I don't know what's going on. They're doing fireworks all over the place. It goes on for 3 days,
doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems it. It's now a big celebration. And my dog it goes nuts, hates them so much, like really gets
Dogs
scared.
Hate fireworks,
Oh,
yeah.
my God, yeah. It's weird. We have 3 dogs. Our 2 sons that live still in the house, they have a dog each, and then me and my wife have our dog. And the dogs, they don't care. Like, I don't even think they even hear them for some reason, but our dog, who's a little dog, goes nuts and does not like it at all. But here we are, and you may hear fireworks, you may hear dogs barking, but we have the Best Comics of the Week. It is, again, the 5th of July as we're recording this, but these are books that came out July 3rd, even the DC stuff, because they are now coming out on Wednesday print, but they still come out digitally on Tuesday, which I think
weird,
that's
isn't
weird.
It?
Yeah, they never would do that before because they didn't want to screw the shops over. But it is weird. And the funny play is, I do think, looking at the reviews this week, I do think that DC has put an embargo on everybody that they can't have reviews until Wednesday. The deal is, though, they don't send me the review copies, so I can get them on Tuesday, and now I have the early access of the review copies, so they can go screw it.
You have the power.
I could end up, and I did end up doing a Absolute Power review on Tuesday just to laugh, because I usually get lazy anyway and wasn't putting them up. But we're here, and obviously, if you haven't listened to it before, this is the Best of the Week, and when we go through these are the comics that me and Gray liked. Usually where we go with it, it's like an 8 out of 10 or more is kind of where we draw the line of the best of. And there's been weeks where we didn't have a lot. There's been weeks that we have a lot. This is like a standard kind of week, but there were a ton of comics out this week, and there were some weird ones. These are what we liked. But if you liked something that we didn't, or you even liked the ones we did, please comment in the comment section, so that people can know maybe some cool books that came out. But we always start with DC, and here we go. DC's first big book. It is the event Absolute Power #1. Me and you both are picking this. I know some people have abstained from reading it, but we'll tell you that it's pretty darn good. And it's written by Mark Waid, art by Dan Mora. I liked it. I thought that was one of the better starts for an event that DC has had in quite some time. I actually said probably since Forever Evil. And it had that kind of feel. It felt big. Amanda Waller, the stuff that was set up actually works out, and she's doing like deep cuts and, fakes and stuff like that to make the world now completely go against the heroes. But really, even it looks incredible. I mean, the book looks great, right?
Dan Murray on the art, Jim, absolutely awesome. And I think it's oversized too. It says 40 pages on the solicits.
Yeah, and I liked it. I had a good time. You get big stakes right away. I mean, this could be spoilers, but I'm hoping everybody, if they're going to read it, they have read it. All the heroes lose their powers. They're taken away by these newer Amazo robots that Amanda Waller has. So you have powerless heroes, and the other big thing is Green Arrow joining up with Amanda Waller. We saw that in the Green Arrow solo series. And that, it's one of the things. I actually think that Ollie might do that, except I don't think he would, because Amanda Waller did all that screwy stuff with his family. Exactly. And I think he wouldn't do it. So I hope that he is, kind of double agent. I hope that he's just doing stuff behind the scenes to make sure. But he seems like he means it.
Jim, that kind of upset quite a few people, didn't it? They're all like going, Ollie would never do that. It's like, wait a minute, do you even know the character?
Yeah, and I even said, we had this on our Patreon Spotlight, and we were talking, and somebody said, oh, man, there's Green Arrow. Oh, welcome. Like, it's kind of him. I mean, he is one of the most liberal characters in the DCU. It's just joining up with Amanda Waller seemed weird.
I think there's more to it than meets the eye. I think we'll find out, she's manipulating somehow.
Again, even though some of the heroes show up as like the deep fakes deal, this did feel big because you got a bunch of characters that you don't normally see. I mean, You have Superman Start, which was that preview. But once you get into it, you get Animal Man and Animal Girl Maxine, and you don't see them much.
I felt terrible for Animal Man. I was like, no, buddy,
I know.
What did you do to our
It's
man,
like our
Jim?
guy. Because me and you have the Grant Morrison podcast that we end up doing, and we're going through his Animal Man. I'm like, oh, buddy, what's happening? But yeah, he starts getting beaten up. It's crazy. But I think that if you are, again, I'm not going to tell people they have to do something or they shouldn't be upset at whatever. You can decide on your own. But if you aren't reading, I think you might miss out on something really good from DC. And sometimes it's hard to get that, especially with events. And this looks pretty darn cool. But that is our dual pick. But you have a separate pick at DC. I almost put it myself. I probably should have. It's a book that I don't know. I'm getting to like it, but you tell them what it is.
Okay, it is The Boy Wonder, issue 3, written and drawn by Junie Barr. It's all about Damian, but this issue is focusing on Tim Drake and Damian's relationship. It's so good. James seen Red Robin again. What did you think about it?
And the thing is, I was going to say, at first the art threw me off. That first issue, then the second issue, I said, okay, I'm getting a little used to it. Now I'm like used to it. And there are points where I think that if I just saw it randomly when you see the Red Robin costume, there's one page that you really see it. And I'm like, that looks so cool. I don't think I would have said that if it was the first issue, and it looks awesome. And I'm used to the art. It's very cartoony, stylistic type deal, but I think it's good. And we talked about it before. It's like, it's not fully like what I'd expect from a Black Label.
No.
But it actually is pretty cool because of what it is. And maybe that's kind of the play of it. Because Black Label has been kind of a little wonky. Like you end up having this, that Zatanna book didn't quite feel like it. But then you get, announcements with Batman Full Moon and stuff. That looks like classic deal. So
yeah,
I do like it. But I like this. I thought that it was pretty good. I think I liked the first issue the most with Dick Grayson. But the Jason Todd was. And then I'll tell you, I'll piss everybody off. Tim Drake's not my favorite Robin. He's my least favorite. I know a lot of people love him and a lot of people a certain age, with that.
They do.
But my favorites are Damian. Damian's second. It's actually Dick Grayson, Damian, Jason Todd, Tim Drake of the four. But I still like him. But it's just, I don't know. When I read stories, for the most part, I kind of get bored with him sooner than the others, but I know, again, I'll get
I'm the same, Jim. I don't
that.
know him that well because, we're similar age, so I grew up with reading Dick Grayson and then Jason Todd. But what I've been reading from comments and listening to people, they're saying this feels like, the proper Tim is brought Tim back from the Megan Fitzpatrick, what was going on with the Twinkly Toes nonsense recently.
Yeah. So that's good.
Great moments between Damian and Tim, not just Tim. Damian was written so well in this, I thought. He was really, really good. It's the writing more than the art that's got me with this.
Yeah, the art, I'm telling you, the art, when you first see it, it shocks you. Like, you're like, I don't think I really like this, but I really like it now. I really like the art. I think it's really cool. And that one deal with the over-exaggerated Red Robin costume, especially the helmet deal. The
action scenes are good. The movement, the way it feels like, very kinetic, very fluid at times.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. And yeah, I'm glad you put it on the list, but we'll move over to Marvel. Me and you are going to have a fight. Now we're going to end up having some fights, especially because I'm going to let you go first. In this book,
oh my God.
Holy moly. But it is Marvel. What is it, your first pick?
Here we go. It's Spider-Man Reign 2, issue 1. Was it wanted? Was it needed? I don't care. I had a blast, Jim. Written and drawn by Carrie Andrews, colours by Brian Reber. It's $4.99, 28 pages. I can't even tell you why I loved it so much. It just hit all my buttons.
Yeah, it's just the thing. When you read it, me and my man Matt, who do our Marvel stuff and our podcast and the videos, we read it, and I said to him, I don't even know half of what happened. This thing, one thing that Carrie Andrews does not do is do any sort of transitions between scenes.
There's a lot going on in there. There is. Yeah, I know.
Some of the art is really, really good, but then some of it's very confusing. And the idea of explaining what happened where you end up, it looks like Old Man Peter from Spider-Man Reign. And if you haven't read Spider-Man Reign, you might struggle here because it ends up having a lot of the concepts and the style and what.
You do get a recap, don't you? It's quite a detailed recap in the beginning, but yeah, as you say, you might miss a lot. But I went in, I've not read it for years, and I was blown away. It just felt like something different, something new, something original, bonkers and wacky fun, Jim. Crazy, right?
I just read Spider-Man Reign a couple months ago for one of our Patreon podcasts.
Okay.
And me and Matt did. So when we went to review this, like it's kind of fresh or fresher than the deal. And we did say in the review, even though I didn't like it much, I said, it does have the same feel. I mean, the art looks spot on. Like there's no change with all that time passed and whatnot. But yeah, you end up having what they said was like, this is like the Dark Knight for Spider-Man is what one of the concepts they said this was. And you have Old Man Peter is hooked up in the Matrix, who then gets taken away by a black cat, but younger deal. Then they end up in a mob scene. They try to get Peter. He falls through the ground, finds Goblin, and then goes in time. I was like, I don't know what you said. My head was spinning.
Wait until you see what they've done to Miles Morales. Or, well, not done to him, but it's incredible finish. What a cliffhanger.
You have Miles Morales, who you might not get this because you are a Brit in Japan, but he's wearing like Joe Namath. He's there with this freaking fur coat on. I'm like, what is he doing? I actually, when I first saw it, I thought it was Bishop. I thought because of the idea of, time to, I don't know. And then they're like, oh, Miles.
To begin with,
and then you have it Miles. And I know that some people like kind of got mad. Like, why do you have to put Miles in it and stuff? But I think that might be kind of
just
cool.
One more thing. There's been a bit of controversy actually about people saying possibly AI art for the backgrounds or the colouring or something. But I didn't notice. I thought it would look cool. It looks a bit Blade Runner-y, a bit cyberpunk.
I think that people need to go and maybe compare it to and maybe I'm thinking of it different, but when I saw the art, it looks dead on for what I think
just for the backgrounds we're talking with the AI.
Yeah, and when when Spider-Man Reign first came out, there was no AI art. The only AI artist with Allen Iverson might have been doodling or something like that. But you picked that. I did not.
I was worried about this. I thought, did Jim hate this or not? But I loved it. It really worked for me, and that's it. It's my subjective opinion. That's it.
And again, you even said at the beginning, though, the big question is, did we really need it? It's a weird sequel. It's very odd, but I guess they wanted it to kind of, be a little controversial still. The first one was you had radioactive sperm supposedly, but we're going to go to the next book, and it's my pick, Wolverine Deep Cut #1, written by Chris Claremont, art by Edgar Salazar, and it's $3.99. I think that if you like Wolverine, if you like Sabretooth and just want to see them fight, it's one of those big fight issues, and it goes with the play. Sabretooth and Wolverine fight every year on Wolverine's birthday. But this is doing the deep cut from back in the day where Wolverine and the X-Men were supposedly dead. So you end up having Sabretooth, and he's going to go after Mariko, and you have even Kitty Pryde in this. It's really cool. It's one of those that when we went to talk about it on the podcast, there wasn't a ton to talk about because it's a big fight, but it is brutal. It is, and the art, Edgar Salazar did the Madripoor Nights that just finished, and the art was okay. I mean, it was good, but it got a little wonky by the end. This is incredible. Like, they are hitting together, and I wish Chris Claremont was on maybe one of the actual X books coming out, not just this, but this is like one of the best things I've read from him in a while, and it's just fun, and it looks great, and you have a moment, one of the big things is Sabretooth ends up ripping out the eyes of Wolverine, and then he does like Frank Dukes from Bloodsport and keeps fighting and ends up like just beheading Sabretooth. It's vicious. And then at the end, he realizes that it wasn't Sabretooth. And he even says, usually each year they fight, it comes to a draw, they kind of go, but he ended up winning. And he thought, this is weird. So he tasted his blood, which he probably has hepatitis now, but he ended up where he realizes it's a clone. So he's going to go after Mr. Sinister. He thinks Sinister is the one.
Storm. Depiction of Storm in this, isn't she? What do you reckon, Jim? She's looking a bit, wow.
She looks pretty good. She has the mohawk going on and stuff. Cool. And this is where, in Australia, where, Logan went off to do his own thing. And that did happen. Nobody knew what he did. So it's that kind of play. This is what they've done a lot with these older going back, where it's like the untold story. But I had a good time. I thought it was really, really good. The art was incredible. So I suggest everybody pick up that. But we have one more. We have actually 3 Marvel books, and 2 are yours. But you tell us what your last one is.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, it is. Where are we? X-Men, Blood Hunt, Psylocke. And issue 1 of, I'm not sure, it's a miniseries, isn't it, I guess? Or, no, it's a one-off.
Yeah, I think this is a one-off. Yeah, it's one of the one-shots.
Written by Steve Fox. It's got art by a new-to-me artist, Lin Yoshi. Great name, by the way. And I got to say, Jim, I love the art in this.
The art's great.
Loved it.
I actually hope that Lin Yoshi does more because I think it looks great. And even like just the kind of blending of like a manga anime style, like a Japanese style in with the deal. But you go on because it tickled your fancy, it did.
It did. Okay, it's a blood hunt event. It's supposed to be based on a vampire attack, and you do get that in Japan, opening in Osaka, which is pretty awesome. But what I loved about this is we get some Japanese mythological folklore monsters in here. One of the ones is absolutely terrifying, Jim. In Japanese, her name is Kuchisake Onna, which is the slit-mouthed woman. It's just horrifying. But yeah, as I say, based on kind of a legend, horror story. What did you think about seeing the mix of Japanese folklore as well as the vampires?
There is a manga that I liked. I haven't read it in a while, but it's If You Slit My Mouth, and it looks exactly like that, with a demon with the slit mouth like that. Yeah. It's pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if Steve Fox like looked at that and did something or just went straight up folklore the way it was, but I thought it was cool. I did hear people complaining that there weren't really vampires, but again, you're in Japan and you're playing with the flavor of it. And these tie-ins, a lot of them are nonsense. So if you're going to do something in Japan with Psylocke, just go for it and end up, going with the folklore and have some fun. And like you said, it's one of those that it actually has, accurate places, that things you're in Japan. So you said that it kind of, like I said, tickled your fancy.
We've got John Greycrow in here as well. Greycrow, I don't know the characters that well, Jim. As you know, I'm kind of fairly new to X-Men outside of Grant Morrison's run, but I just love the focus on those two. It's a really nice relationship in this you get, even in this single issue. Nice to see that, a bit of romance in a Marvel comic.
Yeah, the thing is, as people would know, John Greycrow, he was Scalp Hunter, but they ended up, they're not allowed to say that anymore.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was. I figured that you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
And one of the things, too, I'll give Lin Yoshi credit to, not, going away from butt cheeks. And that, like Psylocke, there's a lot of pretty much cheesecake photos and things in it. Like they're not shying away from that, which I thought was kind of interesting again in this day and age. But
bringing the sexy back to Marvel.
Yeah, they
comics.
were. They weren't going to call him Scalp Hunter. When I saw it, every time I see him, I just like, John Greycrow.
And actually, there's some funny lines in here, Ian. I'm surprised because Steve Fox, he's kind of hit and miss with me, Jim. But
yeah,
a couple of times, he had me laughing. I was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of his, but some of the things, like even, I believe he's doing the X-Men 97, that tie-in comic, and that started out decent enough. I think it's
okay. I'm not reading
but
that.
Yeah, I read the first issue. I'm like, okay, I get it. It was okay. But yeah, this is probably one of the better things I think he's done. And I did love the art. The art really sells it well. But we have one more book because we're moving on to indie. And there were a couple of indie books that almost made the list and didn't quite go for me. But you have the one that I think is probably the best book of all the comics this week. It's one of the ones that's so good. You go with it.
By Crom, Jim, he's back, isn't it? It's Conan the Barbarian, issue 12 from Titan Books, written by Jim Zub. Fantastic art, again, by Roberto de la Torre. Only $3.99. I mean, I'm sure you've read it or you've looked inside the book. There's a first page, an opening page, Jim. It blew my mind. It looked like, 70s or 80s style classic Marvel comics.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Just a gorgeous mix of image and writing by Jim Zub. It just
looks so good.
Doesn't it?
It's so good. And I think that the way I can tell you that I like it enough is I don't like narration in books. I can't stand when there's over narration, but it fits this book because it's Conan. And it has like that literary feel as you go through, and there's a ton of narration, but it all fits and it's all good. And it's one of those things, the weird play of, I'm not a huge Jim Zub fan, but I am on this book. Like there are certain books I'll just even throw out. I almost put Space Ghost on it. It just slightly under, but David Pepos, not a fan, but
same.
It feels like he is getting that, like there's always like a character or a book that like hits with one guy or girl, but as they go, it's like their thing. And Jim Zub is definitely, I mean, at this point, you're 12 issues in. Would you think? I think that this is now already going to be looked at as one of the better runs on Conan when years from now, because it is so good and the art is great. I mean,
it's one of my picks of the year already. I know we're only in July, Jim.
Yeah, it's funny because I said at one point my book of the year was Duke at one point because I thought that was great. But it's only a mini.
Too.
This keeps going, and it'd be hard not to pick this for book of the year. Though
you were saying about the narration, it is a little bit over narration to begin with, but it ends on this incredible fight that goes on for page after page between Conan and Thulsa Doom. It's unbelievable. It looks a bit like Skeletor, by the way, but
Thulsa Doom does. Every time I see him, I think of Skeletor. I'm like, okay, but man, when that's kind of comes to an end, it comes to a vicious end.
It does.
It was so crazy. But yeah. With that too, it's like it's the end of the arc and end of the deal, and then you end up having, kind of a stop, and then what will be coming soon, the Battle of the Black Stone.
The Black Stone.
It said, and it's weird. It says coming soon, and I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but it almost feels like they're taking a little break or something. But I hope they don't, because I mean, I would say with the art that you might need to at some. It's so good. I don't know how you can keep up.
They've been swapping artists, haven't they? Who was it? Doug Braithwaite did a couple as well as Roberto Del Torre. But I think it might be a mini, Jim, that Black Stone. I read something about it somewhere. It's a kind of mini series coming out in the fall.
That's crazy. So and okay, so there it is, and it's just really good. It's so good, and then you end up the next deal looks great too. Yeah, looks like you have some things going on, but I do think it's the best book of the week. The art's great, and if you're not reading it, you should just start from the beginning. Maybe get the trade because it's well worth it. It really is. But with all that, that's it. We had a quicker week this week with the book of the week, or best books of the week. I don't know what I'm saying now. It's getting late, and
those fireworks, Jim, they're putting you off.
I'm telling you,
I can't hear them. By the way, I can't hear anything.
Drive me nuts. I mean, it's almost 11. It's fine, but I swear to God, it's like one guy who went to south of the border and bought tons of fireworks and started going for it, because I swear to God, it's just nothing's going on officially.
Does it go on the weekend? Does it carry on Saturday and Sunday?
No, it's not supposed to.
Okay.
It's supposed to stop. We have our town has fireworks on the 4th. That's what usually happens. And these smack asses, they end up where I think that because it was Thursday was the 4th, so they end up taking Friday off, probably drunk off their ass shooting fireworks. They end up blowing off fingers. They got M80s going. I don't know what these people are doing. Insane, and my dog is so upset. But yeah, that's the thing too. We have to take the dog. My wife said when we're done here, we're going to take the dog out. She's not going to go out because of all these things. She thinks she's being bombarded, so she's going to crap in the house. It's a disaster.
Under attack. You're under attack.
My goodness, it sucks. But I used to like fireworks when I was a kid. I do not like them anymore. They annoy me so much. And they're going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to be recording something, and it's just going to sound like whatever. World War VIII outside. So that's that. That's that. I actually was going to start doing here's some cool books coming up next week and stuff like that. But I figured probably not. There's so many books and to go through, and that's what I do. The most anticipated show. So if you didn't know, it's kind of the brother-sister show of this, where on Sunday nights I end up going through a bunch of books that I'm looking forward to, and a lot of them do make the cut on the best of, and someone did this week.
People are loving those shows, Jim. They really look forward to your best of the week and the most anticipated.
It's that the best of the week's me and you. It's not me. I think they remember at the beginning all they wanted to talk about was you. I got jealous.
No, wait till they hear my Spider-Man Rainer review. I've had it.
They're going to hear you say that, and they're Jim. Done. They have bailed on you. But before we go, please go to Gray's deal, and look, you can watch. You can go brother sister reviews, because I said stuff about Spider-Man Rainer, and Gray really liked it. But it's at Wakasashi's Tea House. The link is in the show notes, so check that out definitely. And then when you're there, a bunch of other things as well. So check out Gray's cool channel. But that is it. Thanks for joining me, Gray. Thanks everybody for watching, and please let us know some of the books that you would like or you pick for the best of the week. I'm telling you, I'm sitting here with like one eye out the window looking like mad at these fireworks so much. So, but yeah, that's that, everybody. Tell us what you liked in the comments and we'll talk to you later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.